You likely believe your morning routine is a model of efficiency, a seamless transition from your own wake-up call to the start of your dog's day, but in the eyes of your canine companion, those 20 minutes are a masterclass in unintentional physiological destabilization. Most owners operate under the dangerous assumption that their dog's emotional baseline is static, a constant state of contentment that remains unaffected by the frantic pacing of a modern human schedule. However, neuroscientific research into canine social attunement reveals a far more volatile reality. Every time you rush through your morning rituals, ignoring the subtle, involuntary cues your dog is broadcasting, you are inadvertently spiking their cortisol levels and triggering a sympathetic nervous system response that lingers long after you have closed the front door. This is not just a case of an anxious dog. This is the physical manifestation of a biological regulator being consistently forced out of equilibrium. If you skip ahead to the conclusion, you will miss the fundamental shift in perspective required to understand why your current approach is failing. The final secret is not merely a tip, but a psychological cheat code that completely reframes the chemical landscape of your dog's morning, turning a period of high-octane anxiety into one of profound neurobiological security. To understand why this matters, we must first look at the way your dog experiences your morning departure, a sequence of events that most owners interpret as simple waiting, but which the canine brain processes as a severe, cascading social stressor. Your dog is a master of social attunement, a creature whose internal state is tethered directly to your own, and when you mirror the high-frequency, fragmented energy of a stressful morning, you are effectively programming their nervous system for chaos. You must recognize that the 5-minute fix I am about to outline is the only way to intercept this cascade before it reaches the amygdala, where it becomes ingrained as a daily cycle of suffering. Consider your typical morning routine. You wake up, move with urgency, and interact with your dog in quick erratic bursts, a quick scratch behind the ears, a hurried bowl of food, a frantic grab for your keys. For you, this is life. For your dog, it is a series of unpredictable environmental inputs that demand constant high-level vigilance. This state of hypervigilance keeps the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis in a perpetual state of activation, leading to a chronic elevation of glucocorticoids. To break this cycle, your first directive is to implement an intentional, non-negotiable stillness interval exactly 5 minutes long immediately upon waking. This is not about training a command, it is about providing a biological anchor. During these 5 minutes, you will sit on the floor regardless of the temptation to check your notifications or start your coffee. By physically lowering your center of gravity and removing all goal-oriented movement, you signal to your dog that the environment is safe, stable, and devoid of the unpredictable stimuli that trigger their alarm systems. This is the first step in recalibrating their neurochemical response to your departure. Moving into the second phase of this morning evolution, we must address the way you handle their feeding, an activity that holds far more evolutionary weight than the mere provision of calories. In the wild, feeding is preceded by a period of calm, a deliberate suppression of the predator's stress response to ensure the hunt is focused and efficient. When you dump food into a bowl while your dog is pacing or barking, you are rewarding and reinforcing a state of physiological agitation. Instead, you must require a period of calm, focused eye contact before the food is released. This brief moment of shared attention, what researchers call joint attention, activates the oxytocin pathways in both species, effectively lowering heart rates and creating a biological buffer against the impending stress of your absence. The third shift concerns the transition from indoor safety to the outside world, a moment fraught with potential for overstimulation. Most owners approach the morning walk as a chore, a necessary physical release, but they ignore the sensory overload the dog experiences upon exiting the door. By engaging in a grounding exercise right at the threshold, simply standing still for 30 seconds while your dog chooses to focus on you rather than the environment, you establish an essential boundary. This micro moment of choice empowers the dog to self-regulate, shifting them from a reactive state to an active, engaged participant in the walk. The fourth component of this routine involves the actual separation, a moment typically handled with a flurry of apologies or distracting treats, both of which serve only to heighten the sense of unease. You must remove all emotional charge from the departure. Do not look back. Do not offer a long, lingering goodbye. Instead, provide a consistent, low arousal olfactory or auditory anchor, a specific, calm scent, or a soft ambient sound that signifies the start of the house's quiet time. This is not abandonment, it is the establishment of a predictable, rhythmic environment that allows the dog's nervous system to settle into a natural, diurnal cycle of rest. The final and most critical point, the one that serves as the foundation for all the previous steps, is the implementation of a post-separation check-in. When you return, the tendency is to engage in a high-energy greeting, a mistake that keeps the dog's stress levels peaking and crashing. You must resist this. For the first 2 minutes after you walk through the door, you are to behave as if you are simply continuing the calm, established rhythm of the home. Engage in your normal tasks, remain low energy, and allow the dog to come to you rather than you initiating an overwhelming emotional cascade. This is the master switch. By remaining the consistent, calm leader, you allow your dog to transition back into social attunement without the confusion of a high arousal reunion. This process is not a rigid set of rules. It is an invitation to align your domestic environment with the biological reality of the animal you share your life with. When you perform this 5-minute sequence, the stillness, the intentional feeding, the threshold grounding, the low arousal departure, and the calm, delayed reunion, you are not just changing your morning. You are rewriting the neurochemical foundation of your relationship. You are moving from a position of unintentional stress induction to one of deliberate, empathetic leadership. This is a profound responsibility, a chance to silence the hidden physiological stress that haunts so many pets, and in doing so, to unlock a depth of bond you have never before experienced. The transformation does not happen in a single morning, but it begins the moment you commit to this level of biological awareness. Your dog is already waiting for this version of you. The one who understands, the one who notices, the one who provides the stability they so desperately crave. Take a moment now to reflect on which part of your morning routine is the greatest contributor to this cycle of agitation, and share the name of your dog below, along with the first step you plan to take tomorrow morning to begin this process of neurobiological realignment.